After rummaging through the phones in my to fix bin, I discovered an iPhone 7 running iOS 11 from 2017. It's worth noting that the iPhone 7 was initially launched with iOS 10 in 2016. I figured I'd create a video of the repair process, as it could become a valuable addition to my collection. I do have a second jet black iPhone 7 laying around that has an iCloud lock. I'll be using the enclosure from this phone as it's in a better condition than what I currently have. In the way of the battery, I'll probably take the one from inside this scrap enclosure I have, just depends on which one gives me the higher battery health. Lastly, I have a genuine refurbished display where the glass layer on top of the actual LCD was replaced. To begin the repair, I'll start by removing the security pentalobe screws at the bottom of the phone. Now I'll go ahead and power the phone down completely. Next, I'll bring in my heat pad and allow it to preheat to 80 degrees Celsius or about 176 degrees Fahrenheit. Then I'll place the phone on the heat pad for a few minutes. With the adhesive preheated, I'll use my suction cup tool to attempt creating a small gap I can insert a plastic pick in. At this point, I just decided screw it, I'm gonna try to pry it up as I'm not planning on saving the screen or enclosure. But with a small opening created, I can now insert a plastic pick and start cutting the adhesive. Usually that doesn't happen, and I'm guessing it has to do with how cracked the screen is already. Just like that, we have the first iPhone 7 opened up. Now with the iCloud locked iPhone 7, we just have to repeat the same process. Moving back over to the iOS 11 iPhone 7, I'll start by removing the metal plate so I can disconnect the battery, then display. I also disconnected the other flex cables on the logic board like the charging port, camera, etc. as the next component I'll be removing is the logic board itself. Every once in a while I forget that I have to remove the SIM tray. Just like that, the logic board has been successfully removed. Now when it comes to the display, I'll be removing everything like the front-facing camera, ear speaker, and home button. The front-facing camera and ear speaker has now been removed. The iPhone 7's most crucial component to avoid breaking is the home button, as if it were to break in any way, this phone would never have Touch ID again. The final part left to remove is the metal plate covering the back of the screen. Once I get this tape off, all I have to do is reverse the clips during editing to make it look like I put everything on the new display. Just like that, the hardware for the new screen is ready to go, but there's one more step we'll get to later. As for the iCloud locked iPhone, let's get its logic board removed. With it now removed, I'll be going one step further with gutting this iPhone by removing its battery, as I've already decided I'm not going to try to continue to use it due to the fact it's just starting to puff up. Now, I'll install the iOS 11 logic board in the enclosure and reconnect all the flex cables. There's this weird plastic block that goes in the upper left corner, and I honestly have no idea what its purpose is or if it even serves one, considering that there's no form of circuitry on it. Let's get the display connected real quick and connect one of the batteries to see what its health is. Alright, not too bad. The one from the scrap enclosure is at a respectable 93%. Quickly connecting the original battery, it's sitting at 76%, which is quite bad. Once the health is below 82%, that's where you can start experiencing some serious issues. Since I don't have any iPhone 7 battery adhesive, I'll be using adhesive specifically designed for an iPhone 8 as both batteries are basically the same size. Next, I'll reattach the small metal plate covering the volume and power button's flex cable. Then I'll proceed to remove the old display adhesive. Remember when I said earlier that there's one more step for the display? Well, that step is to rewrite the display serial number to trick the phone into thinking it still has its original part to retain true tone. It's now down to the last final step, starting by applying the new display adhesive for water and dust resistance. Give the back of the display a quick cleaning. Then connect the display and fasten the last few metal plates. Get the satisfying crunch, snapping the display into place. Fasten the pentalobe security screws. Pop the SIM tray back in. And just like that, we're done. We now have a hard to find iPhone 7 in a significantly better condition. Although it's not perfect, it's still way better to its initial state. If you enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate a thumbs up and subscription to show your support. With that, I'll be signing off here and I'll catch you in the next one.